All right, guys. Hey, welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to Top Tier Talk here for January 3rd, 2022. And this is, I think it's the 8th year that we've been running these team meetings, 8th year that we've been a marketing team, maybe 9 years, whatever it is. It's since 2014. I think it's 8 years. It's been a long time. It's been a good run, and we don't plan on slowing down. So we'll just have a little quick kickoff meeting here, maybe give you some ideas on how to plan out for 2022, and things you can do to at least kind of reinvigorate yourself for the business if you've been around a little while, and set some goals that are achievable for you this year, and just kind of outlined just a few ideas for you. First of all, I believe that goals should be a stretch but still achievable, right? If you set goals that are just completely unrealistic and you have zero chance of achieving them, chances are that you're going to stop striving for them pretty quickly because you're just going to fail. So make your goals reachable, yet still a stretch for you. Now, some of the things I put down here, putting down metrics on, setting your goal and then achieving your goal, right? A lot of people have an annual income goal, right? You want to make $100,000, for example. And again, make that realistic too. If you're a 995 member, $100,000 is not really an achievable goal, right? Unless you upgrade. But break that annual goal into monthly, because then it starts to mean something a little bit more, right? This is what we always did in the mortgage industry too. You'd have your annual goal, but that annual goal means nothing without kind of those steps to achieve that annual goal. So you want to have monthly income goal as well, and whatever that is, right? And again, base it on the level that you're at, and I would say a minimum of 2 sales per month, right? How many leads or appointments does it take you to make a sale? If you've been around a while, you should have at least kind of an understanding of how many leads that you have to generate, how many appointments do you have to have in order to make a sale. If you're not sure, or if you're new, a good rule of thumb, particularly if you're sending leads directly to your website, right? You're not using the appointment funnel or a 100 link. Look at essentially 100 leads to make a sale. Okay, so factor that into your planning. Then, what is your average sale? Okay, if you've made sales, you should have an idea. If you don't know, just add them up and divide by the number of sales you have, and that's your average sale. If you're at the top level, based on my experience, I'd say use 3,000. But again, if you're at the $2,000 level, don't use 3,000. If you're at the 995 level, don't use 3,000. How many leads do you have to generate each month, okay, to meet your income goal? And again, use 100 per sale as a barometer. Then, if you want to have 2 sales in a month, you got to generate 200 leads. That's, the easy way to look at it. Could it happen sooner than that? Of course, but these are good numbers to use to plan. And how many appointments do you have? Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that may seem like a lot if you're not used to performance-based sales kind of businesses, but some people in real estate and mortgages and car sales call 100 sales a day, right, Steve?
Yeah, that's what I did. When I was in the mortgage business, I made 100 calls a day, every day, I averaged 6 sales a month. Okay, so it's 100 dials a day, Monday through Friday, to make 6 sales a month. So it's not crazy. Now you can break it down to appointments, okay? Because like we've talked about, nobody's going to join this business without having an appointment. Okay, now, if you're new, right, these appointments are going to be on a 3-way call. And how many of those do you have to have in order to make a sale? Our metrics have always shown 10 Q&A calls, if you will, somebody who's already watched the webinar, reviewed the website, so they know what it is, they know how much it costs, they know all that good stuff, and they still show up for their appointment. You're looking at probably for every 10, it could be less than that, but typically for every 10, you should have a sale. John, do you have anything to add to that one? Because I know you tend to have more appointments.
Yeah, I mean, 10 people to qualify through the system is the stat, which means that if you have an appointment up front and then you send them to your website and then have a 3-way call afterwards to help handle the guy's questions, if you get a prospect through all 3 steps, that 10 figure is pretty decent. But as you said earlier, if you're just sending them to your website, it's a little harder to make appointments.
Yeah, but because I typically send people directly to the website, and the appointments that get scheduled that way.
Well, that's still through the system, though. Yeah, that's still, you're getting them. Yeah.
I would say it's probably 1 in 5 or a sale, maybe 1 in 4, something like that. That's been my experience, because they're reaching out. I'm not talking to them first and then telling them, hey, I'm going to call you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Make sure you show up. I'm not, none of that. They're just raising their hand by themselves and saying, I'm interested and I have questions. So,
right.
I would say, something like 1 in 4, 1 in 5, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the questions they have, even though they do that, is, does this cost money? So not everybody actually watches the webinar or goes through the website to schedule an appointment, but that's why it's 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 and not even better than that. And lastly, and this is important, I mean, this is not in any real order, this is just in the order that I thought of them as I was typing them, but how much does it cost you to generate a lead? And know what your advertising budget is. Have an advertising budget, first of all. It doesn't matter what it is, but have one. You can always change that, based on sales or based on you get a bonus at work or whatever the case is, right? But, make sure that you have some sort of a budget. And if you don't have a budget, make sure you're cranking out YouTube videos, make sure you're contacting warm market, make sure you're doing the things that you can do that don't cost money, but assuming you have some sort of an advertising budget, know what that is, stick to it, right? And, and track your advertising, okay? So how much is it costing you to generate a lead, and then obviously that's going to factor into then how many leads does it take you to make a sale, and then how much money it costs you in advertising to make a sale. So, these are all pretty basic business things, but, just wanted to kind of, jog your mind or whatever to maybe set up a spreadsheet or something. I know I track all my Craigslist advertising on a spreadsheet, so I know what it's costing me per click, what it's costing me per lead, and then ultimately when there's a sale, I have an idea of what it costs me per sale. So, I guess sticking to metrics before we move to mindset, John, do you have anything to add to that? Did I forget anything?
No, I think that's the idea. But basically what Steve's saying is you need to treat your business like a real business and understand the statistics that you need to achieve in order to make the ultimate statistic, which is a sale and money in your pocket, which is why you signed up. We'll review in a second, but you obviously have a reason that you purchased this business, just like a reason to get a job. You have certain whys. You have to take care of your family and your bills and have a life, and you can do that as a job, or you can be an entrepreneur and purchase a business or invest or whatever the case is, it's usually involving making money. And what Steve just went over are some of the most important statistics. I call that the mechanics of the business, because it's interesting. You could have an incredible mindset, a really big why, the reason you started, and you could even have a burning desire to achieve that why. But if you don't then do what is necessary, which means the mechanics of whatever your business is, in this case, you're looking for people that want to own a business and work from a home office and have more time freedom for themselves and their family. A person that wants to be a little bit more entrepreneurish, maybe doesn't want to work anymore for the man. Maybe they're retired, but whatever the case is, this is appealing to them. You need to, of course, have that why reaffirmed so you know why you're doing what you're doing. And you need to really have a burning desire. I mean, you really want to achieve it. But I've seen both ways fail. If you have a burning desire and a big why, and then you don't do much, which we can call laziness, and then that why and your burning desire don't mean anything. And then on the other hand, you could have do all kinds of mechanics, meaning, you know, figure out your average sale and book your leads and buy leads and take Craigslist ads out. But if you don't really have a flight plan, your airplane is probably never going to take off. And if it does take off, it's going to roam around in the sky, not go anywhere. So both of these are important. Manage your business and make sure you complete these mechanics and know what those mechanics are. But before you do that, you really should reaffirm why you even bought this business and what you're trying to achieve, and make sure you have a burning desire to achieve it. Because if the mindset is correct in there, you will then probably not be lazy, and you will confront doing all these things in the sales and the appointments and the budget and the generating of the leads. So both of these things are important. It's not an either or situation. You really want to review at the beginning of the year, which is now is the time, what your reason is, which we call your why, and kind of assess, like, do I really want to achieve this? Do I have a burning desire, or is this like just the wishful thinking? And you got to get that together, and then you go into the mechanics and start doing all these different things and treat it like a business. If you do both of these things and you continually do both of these things, there's no reason why you can't be successful and make whatever your income goal is, 100 grand or more. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, and I'm not sure that, you know, people that don't necessarily work the business are lazy. I mean, certainly some are, you know, but I think sometimes it's just that they're just not sure, even though we talk about do this and do this and do this. I think they're just not sure how to be a business person or how to be an entrepreneur. It's maybe confusing, and not to have somebody to motivate them all the time. And yeah, maybe that is laziness, I suppose. But you know, if you start to, yeah, I guess maybe.
In
If you
the
start
end,
to
it's
track your
laziness. In the end, and in the end, it's laziness, and especially you got a mentor too. How many times I can always tell a person who's going to be successful right away is how many times they even call me. I mean, you know, guys that call me for 3 weeks, and I'm thinking, well, I could text them and I'll do, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? Oh yeah, well, you haven't called me. I went, what? You know, and you're right too. I mean, they're not used to being an entrepreneur and having the responsibility on their shoulders, especially if they came from a 9-to-5 world, where when you start the gig, it's real obvious what your job description is. You've been interviewed, you've been hired, and then they usually onboard you and say, okay, here's what your job is. You're booking nurses with patients all day long, and that's your job. And here's your software program you have to learn. So from 9 to 5, you're booking our medical staff with patients. That's all you do. And then they know. And of course, that's very clear to them. And they know pretty much if they don't do that within a couple of days, they're probably going to get a warning. And if they still don't do it, they're going to be offloaded. They're going to be fired. But in our business, you end up firing yourself because you're not making any money. We don't fire you.
Right. Yeah. No, no, that's true. I think setting these goals though and making them manageable and making them something, I mean, you can even break it down. I'm not somebody that necessarily does this, but you can break it down to daily,
Yeah.
so that at the end of the day, did I achieve my goal? Right. Or, weekly is probably a little bit easier. That's what I've always done, so break it down weekly. And at the end of the week, Friday comes around or Saturday morning, whatever. And, wow, how come I didn't make any money? Oh, this is why I didn't make any money, right? So you're gonna know the answer is gonna be right there, in black and white for you. Because we do have people from time to time that they get upset. They're like, I didn't make any money. I haven't made any money. What's up with this business? And it's like, I remember one person in particular, he had been with the business for 6 months and he had generated around 50 leads. It's like, dude, you didn't generate enough leads for 1 month, never mind 6 months. That's why you didn't make any money.
Yeah, that's 8 leads a month.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you put these numbers down on paper, on your computer, or however you're going to do it, I mean, take it seriously, because this is your plan for making money with this business. And it's not just our business. I was looking at some ads for, I like to just get ideas, look at ads for different things. And this is for an insurance company, and their whole thing was, everyone who doesn't quit succeeds. It's all the same stuff we talk about, right, with our business. And this is, insurance, which is more of a mainstream industry. Same exact buzzwords and keywords and everything that they put in their ads to attract agents. Same stuff we do here. And it's true, right? Like, unless you quit, you'll make money with this business. I mean, that's just a fact. If you follow a plan, and if you advertise, and if you generate leads, and if you have appointments, you're going to make sales. The only way that
we wouldn't be doing this for, what did you say, 8 or 9 years, and we both.
I should know the answer to this, but we started in 2014, so I think that's 8 years. No, I think this is starting year 9.
Yeah, the point is, we wouldn't keep, as leaders in this business, we wouldn't be doing this if it didn't work. Trust me. I'd be gone rather quickly if I wasn't making any sales. But when I started this particular business, I was very excited because it's a high ticket business. So I was the opposite of lazy. I was a sponge. Steve brought me into the business, and I'd call him 3-4 times a week and ask him questions, to the point of probably being a pest. Went on the site, read every top tier talk, listened to everything, did everything I could. Just like an athlete that wants to win a gold medal, you assess your competition, you see what you have to do, and then you work with a coach, and you get up every day, and you have your desire to win the gold medal in the Olympics, and you have this burning desire. You have to realize you have to keep that up for 4 years, because the Olympics every 4 years. So this is a lot easier, because all you're really doing is it's a numbers game plus competence, and your competence should get better and better as you keep doing the business. And so at the end of the week, like Steve was saying, if you didn't make any money and make any sales, you can then look at these statistics and say, well, geez, I didn't even book 1 3-way call. Then you pull the string and go, why is that? Well, I only generated 4 leads. Well, that's not enough to even get somebody to raise their hand. If you had generated 25 leads, which is 5 a day times 5, that's 25, you probably would have had 1, maybe 2 3-way calls, people that are interested. So you can always assess, when you want a debug situation, you can go back to these statistics and pretty much find the exact statistic that you're weak in, and then start changing that statistic to be more positive, and you watch, stuff will happen. Now, if you're lazy and you're bummed out and you're apathetic, then that's a mindset problem. That's when you would go and reaffirm your why and your burning desire. But if you're working the business, you're not making any leads, you can go back to step number one and find out which one of these mechanical statistics are not really happening. They're either not happening at all or weak, and you can change those. And in regular businesses, they do that all the time. I mean, bosses and people that manage businesses, they look at the various departments and go, well, Jesus, that department there is not producing much. Who's the head of that department? What are the employees? And they go in and do an evaluation to find out where the weak points are in a business. A huge company like Pepsi-Cola, if their stats are down, usually, since that's a well-known business, that might be their promotion. Maybe they didn't spend $80,000 last month on promotion. They skimped on it. And of course, that means they got less sales. So there's always, one thing I learned in a performance business, there's always a why that something that's supposed to be happening is not happening. But you can't find that why if you're not managing your business with some kind of measurable statistics. And these are your statistics.
Well said. Well, we should all plan to make 2022 a big year. And, this is just an idea for doing that. Does anybody have any questions, or maybe something that we left out that we should have mentioned here before we wrap up?
Well, thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, well, let's have a great year. It starts with your why and your burning desire, and then it starts with you doing the things. You could call these things under step one, successful actions. Having a goal, how many leads and appointments, what's your average sale, how much money do you want to generate each month, how many appointments, three-way calls do you have to have, how much does it cost to generate a lead. These are all the little sub statistics that you need to work at. So let's have a fantastic 2022.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
So did you want to talk a little bit? Can't hear me, huh? You closed it down, I guess.
Did you stop the recording?
Yes, it stopped.